Hi, and welcome to the Other World podcast for this week, the second week in June, from the 7th until the 13th. There's a lot, as always, going on, but I'm just going to try and again take it all down to just a couple of pieces that could be helpful. The big thing this week, as I spoke to for June, is the fact that the eclipse is happening this week, and I did go into that on the monthly podcast. So I'm going to bring in another couple of pieces that could help expand what this is about this week. We have Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. And this is a big energy of this week as well. So the axis of Cancer and Capricorn is home and family and kids, where you come from. And Capricorn is what you put out into the world, your goals, your ambition, going to the office. So that's the two places that are being affected by Mars, who's sitting in Cancer, and Pluto, who's sitting in Capricorn. Now, Mars is that doing energy, the sort of somewhat aggressive, going out there, initiating things. And he's sitting in this emotional sign of Cancer, very uncomfortable there. He's a fire sign and he's sitting in water. So there is this, for me, I get this feeling of pressure cooker, like he's sitting there and boiling away, not being able to actually do anything but that. So there's a lot of that kind of tension being built up in that area of home and family. Then across the other side, you've got Pluto, and Pluto is the place of calling you to go deeper, to uncover, to look at the truth behind things. So that these two places are in opposition to each other. What does that mean in our everyday? And it's this really interesting place of two opposing forces shining a mirror on each other. And that has happened to be the beautiful card. And I think that a lot that's happening this week is about this mirror energy of thinking that everything is outside of you or different than you or opposing you. And in actual fact, what it's trying to do is shine a light on something that is resonates with an energy in you. So while you may think it's outside there, it's actually going on within you as well. And how can we uncover the truth of that place inside? Let me have a look at what I was, because I was really feeling into this being such a big part of the energy of this week and where the eclipse energy was taking us, because there is another piece there. Okay, I'll speak to that. And that is, we also have Neptune and Pallas Athena squaring the solar eclipse. So Neptune is the planet of intuition, of kind of trusting that inner knowledge, the inner wisdom, the place beyond logic. And you've got this warrior goddess right there with Neptune fighting for a higher truth. And Neptune is also a place where we can tend to, it can be illusion. And we can also, it can be a place of too much, I need to just zone out. So I kind of feel like Pallas Athena brings this energy of, no, don't go. This is really important that you're here and that you're holding space in the sky for what's been uncovered by the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is in Gemini. So that's the similar kind of energy to, that's Mercury. Mercury sitting on the solar eclipse as well. And Gemini and Mercury is about this world and what's going on in this world and communication and the intellect, very much in a this world place. So it's like we've got these opposing forces between what's going on in this world and what's really been uncovered with what's going on in this world, and where we sit in all of that. And I know that what's been coming up for me around that is this place of, and I think this is the energies is really speaking to this, all around the world, we're probably coming, in most countries, not all, we're starting to come out again. We're starting to go back into work. We're being called back into the workplace. I know here we sit in Australia, and it's frustrating as hell to me, but they're trying to get everyone back into the city and then back into that grind of sitting on public transport for 1.5 hours to get into a city where everyone's there, and there's that hustle and bustle. And I liken it to lab rats just going round and round and round. And it feels like the structures or the powers that be want us all to go back into that. And for working for, very little in comparison to a lot of people who are making a lot. It's like the worker bees need to be going back. They need to be getting their minimum wages and not question it. And then there's this other side that a lot of us have spent a year being in our home and family and being able to work very successfully from that place. And where do you sit, and how do we balance these two places? No matter where you sit, but there are these two polarities, and how do we balance them? That to me feels really frustrating and like this inner turmoil, because I don't have any answers. And there's so many things that feel like an inner turmoil right now because there aren't any clear answers. And it occurs to me that maybe we're moving into a time of the answers not being what we are shooting for, that actually sitting in the discomfort of not knowing and educating ourselves, actually bringing that into this world by just following the path. So getting out there and bringing that Mercury Gemini energy into, okay, what do I need to know? And if I just take those steps to finding out what I need to know, I may not get to an answer, but I'll get to a greater understanding and wisdom that will give me my next step of needing to go on to the next step of understanding and wisdom. I'm not going to go on too much more about that, but I'm going to give everybody a little task out there for this week that I think would be really helpful. When we follow the threads, and certainly this happens on social media, we tend to get a confirmation of what we already believe. So, that's the way that the computer works, right? The way that all of these programs work is that I think this, and this, and then they'll just shoot you. The way the algorithms work is they just shoot you everything that confirms that. So you're getting confirmation of everything you think to be true right now. So take an opposing view on something and follow a trail. Let it be a mirror for you of what maybe there's something in there for you on the opposite side or in the opposition. So just take something that feels uncomfortable, and instead of going, this is what I think, go, okay, this is what I don't think, but I'm going to find out more and see what there is in that for me. That's me this week, Fee.
I love that invitation to explore things from a different perspective. I think that would be an interesting thread to follow and see where it takes you, and open up so much in the journey of that. So yeah, I'm going to take up that challenge and I'll give that a go.
Beautiful.
I'm going to start with my card this week, which was this one. I don't know if it's called Earth Shaman.
Oh, another Earth.
Another Earth one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this one for me feels, and I think it speaks to this a little bit on the card itself, but it feels very much around that walking between two worlds, the connection that was to Earth, but also to Spirit. And it feels very much as if the message from this card for everyone this week is becoming your own guide this month. So slowing down and tuning inwards to receive your guidance, just taking the time that we have through this ever shifting energy that we're sitting in, to just simply slow down and tune in and connect to nature. So being feminine energy and your feminine intuition is the sort of support I feel from this card this month. So starting with that, I was feeling into the numbers for this month. And I think if we were hoping for a quieter month in June, then we're going to be disappointed, really. And in last week's podcast, I know that we had that experience of doing it separately, which was interesting in itself. But I know for me personally, we didn't get the opportunity to talk this through together. But for me personally, I just felt there was so much to say. It was kind of difficult to know where to start or what to focus on last week for the month ahead. So I'm actually much more aligned to breaking it down to the weekly bites that we're doing, and and just working through these energies in a week by week way, because it feels less overwhelming and it feels absolutely much easier to just follow that step by step. This is all I've got to focus on this week. So we're currently in week 23 of the year, and there's a lot going on this week. Some of those you've already spoken to, some of those influences that are coming through at the moment. But what I really wanted to do was just focus on the main energies of the numbers this week, because week 23 brings in the influences of the 5 archetype, and we're also in a 5-year. So what that means is this week specifically, those energies are going to be amplified. They're going to be more, we're going to be more aware of them, consciously aware of them. So that 5 energy, with that, you can really expect sudden and unexpected changes to occur. This energy is all about change. This energy is the instigator of change. It brings change in, and it's always going to push you out of your comfort zone. So the kind of mantra for the week to hold, I know this is going to be mine this week, is expect the unexpected. And that's just how it's going to be. Just, expect your plans to change. Expect not to have control everything. Expect everything to just keep changing continuously. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable this week. That's really what it's about. Unless you're actually quite comfortable sitting in change and it doesn't worry you so much, you'll probably transition through the week quite easily. But if you still find change very difficult, then you are going to feel, I think, that energy quite strongly this week. And there are 2 sides to that energy. There's the part of that 5 archetype that's all about liberation and freedom and opportunity. But the other side can be recklessness, not learning from your experiences, or being overwhelmed by that energy. So I think the guidance from the card this week of slowing down, tuning in, and just taking time to navigate with your own guidance through the energies this week is a really good, positive way to work with it. And also what I want to speak to a little bit is the double 5 energy of this week can cause you to feel unstable or uncomfortable, and there's that constant change that's constantly going on. So you may feel as if the rug has been pulled out from under your feet. You may feel as if you've lost your sense of security in some way. You may also feel, though, as if you're sitting in the void. And I think this is a little bit touching on what you spoke to earlier on, Denny. And that can feel very uncomfortable at first when you're sitting in that void space, because you've let go of something, but you haven't yet brought in something new. So you're sitting in that place of uncomfortableness between those 2 places. And this week may feel a little like that for people. Don't fear that, though, because this energy is really sweeping through to help you move forwards. And if you find yourself sitting in that space where you feel uncomfortable, where you feel a little bit lost, then remember that this energy also brings opportunity on a grand scale as well. So whenever we're sitting in the void, it is a transition. We don't sit in it and not move. We travel through it. And eventually what we get to is that place where opportunity starts to come in more for us. So we'll be guided, I think, next week to look at what your relationship is like with opportunity. Do you kind of grab it with both hands and run with it when it presents itself to you? Or do you run away and hide from it because you hold a fear around the unknown? You know, often when an opportunity surfaces, it's something new and different that we haven't thought of before. So you may be invited to look at what your own relationship is with opportunity as it arises. Do you play it safe or do you dive in? So that intense double five energy brings everything to a new level, but you need to be really willing to take the action and grab the opportunities that arise. And I think it's also worth mentioning that when 5 is derived from 2 and 3, which is the week, this week, 23, it also brings in energy around seeing new ways to see the world. So seeing new ways to view things. It shines new light on the path ahead. It opens you up to new ways of doing things or brings in new solutions. It brings in a desire and a willingness to learn, to adapt and to change. So it supports you to transition through changes more easily. So there is a lot of support with this time from that energy. It helps you shift into a new awareness, and it can guide you to solve problems and bring in new perspectives, or find the right words to speak, or take the right action to get the most positive outcomes for yourself. So personally, I actually really love this energy. It's kind of chaotic and wild and intoxicating, but I find that people either hate it or they love it. And, you know, as you sail through it, you'll sort of learn yourself how you feel about this energy. It's a little bit like a whirlwind, I think. It sort of comes in. You're not really sure whether it's going to sweep you up in it or not. And that's why I think it will be a really interesting observation within yourself as to how you respond to these energies this week. I mean, I've learned over the years that whilst it can look on paper and sound like too much, it actually always brings beautiful change, and it always helps you to move forward at a rapid rate. So it's actually a really good energy to work with. And then finally, I just want to bring, feeling into that, I went into the Akasha just to get a little message for this week for the people that are listening. And so this was the message that came through this week. And it is basically that you can no longer hide from change. It is and always has been part of your life. You are letting go of your own false perceptions that you can control things and create safety in your life. This is not true. You are beginning to see that constant change allows you to create flow, and to be in flow allows you to receive what you desire more easily. Your safety comes from within, not from your external experiences. This knowledge holds you in strength and power and anchors your energy into consciousness. This conscious awareness holds you firm and allows the winds of change to flow around you without affecting you at the very core of your being. Do not fear change, embrace it. So that was the beautiful message from the Akasha today. And that brings me to the end of my piece. But I would love to explore these themes a little bit with you as well, because it is an interesting week.
Absolutely. There was so much there that you spoke to that resonates, and that I can feel. I think it's kind of interesting that you and I sit as both Taurian suns, being really comfortable with change.
Yes.
Traditionally, that would be like that would be a no-go zone for us. But the change, and maybe that's just because we've grown through our wheel, our astrological wheel, to be able to accept these different parts of it as well. Change is a beautiful thing, because it does release a lot of what is no longer serving, and that to me feels like freedom.
Oh, exactly that. And I think, that's that big energy of the five archetype is freedom, and, being able to move forward and push ourselves through things. This energy is all about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And last week we were sitting very much in that four energy, which is more about safety and security and being in your comfort zone. And this week it's all about, no, it's time now to move out of it and change things.
And even if you don't, even if you don't want to, you're going to be in that situation. And that's I kind of did want to bring into this Mars planet being in Cancer, which he's really uncomfortable. Like I said, it's that fire water. But by the end of the week, Mars moves into Leo, which is another fire sign. So there's a go energy there. It's like there's this frustration and aggression building. You don't want to take that on. If you can just let it ride out this week, that will start into an actionable thing by the end of the week, as Mars moves into a much more comfortable positioning in Leo.
Wow. Yeah. And I think that's, that just that beautiful pause and sitting back and not always having to dive in as we sometimes do is always a, a beautiful way to work.
Absolutely. It's we're just in such interesting times, Fee. Every week when we're bringing and we're looking at, because while I look a little bit ahead, I don't try and look too far ahead. Just
Yeah.
wait for it to all unfold. And every week, I can't help but feel that this middle part of this year is such a pivotal time for us moving forward. And God, the energy of 2021 has been so different than 2020, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it has. But I love that. Yes, that sort of reaching this halfway mark through the year, and just it's just such an opportunity to reassess and to redirect ourselves if we want to, if we don't feel that we're on track, going into that inner inquiry and just asking ourselves where we need to make these changes. Use this energy of the moment to make those changes in the most positive way for ourselves, so that over the next 6 months, I mean, I can't even believe we're saying we're 6 months into the year. It's
I
just,
know.
it's
I
gone in the
know.
blink of an eye. But yeah, I think that's a really positive way to work with this 6-month mark.
And there is the sense of these questions that could be coming up around: am I where, am I am I doing enough? Am I moving through enough? There's this kind of like, I can feel this kind of energy of frustration and just wanting to get somewhere, like I think I spoke to, and that can be quite destructive rather than constructive. And if we just pull back that thought of needing to get somewhere and just knowing you are exactly where you need to be, and what you've got with you right now in terms of your toolkit and what you've brought in and the knowledge and the learnings, and that is perfect.
Yeah, it's leaning into that, leaning into yourself and really trusting in yourself to find your way through it with, as you said, the toolkit that you have.
Oh, there you
Wow.
go. Second week in June.
Yep.
Next week, we'll be back next Monday. Until then, enjoy your week, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Have a good week.